Then I know when I wake up sweating, whisper in the
Good evening, Lincoln, and thanks again for tuning in to the J Train right here on KZUM, community-powered radio in Lincoln, Nebraska at 89.3 FM and all around the world at kzum.org. Joining me is Brian Redmond, and he is an integral member of the band The Grand Marquis, and they will be coming down to play at Jazz in June this coming Tuesday evening, so tomorrow night, from 7 to 9 p.m. at the Sheldon Art Gallery for the 24th season of Jazz in June. We are really looking forward to it, and Brian, welcome aboard the J Train.
Hi, great to be here.
Well, it's great to have you. I thought we could start by just talking a little bit about the band, and if you'd like to introduce the members and what instruments they play, and then we can get a little bit more into the music from there.
Sure. Well, we're a quintet comprised of myself. I sing and play saxophones, all four saxophones, soprano, alto, tenor, and baritone. And we've got Chad Boydston on trumpet from Des Moines, Iowa, and we've got Ryan Wirtz that plays guitar from Topeka, Kansas. We've got Ben Ruth who plays upright bass. He also plays sousaphone, does some backing vocals from Kansas City, Missouri, and also Lisa McKenzie who plays drums and a little bit of washboard from Kansas City, Missouri.
Now, I did read that about the fact that you play all four saxophones. Are you secretly like in a garage somewhere working on crafting a fifth saxophone just to add another one?
Well, if I had about $10,000 or so, I could get a bass saxophone, which there is even lower than the baritone, but I haven't been able to justify the return on the investment.
The baritone goes pretty low.
Yeah, there's a band in New Orleans called the New Orleans Jazz Vipers, and they have a bass saxophonist that is really, really great, and he really makes that. Hey, he's probably the best example of bass saxophone in jazz music right now.
Oh, very cool. Well, I'll have to find their music and play it on the program sometime. If you're just joining us, by the way, we're chatting with Brian Redmond. He's a multi-saxophonist and I guess multi-instrumentalist, because you're also on vocals for the band The Grand Marquis, and they're out of Kansas City, as you heard Brian explaining, and they're going to be in Lincoln, taking the stage at Jazz in June this coming Tuesday night from 7 to 9 p.m. for week 4 of Jazz in June. That was a perfect segue, Brian. I wanted to ask, it sounds like there's a lot of different styles and different cities and different geographies that inform your sound. But being that you're all living in Kansas City currently, I would think that Kansas City sound, that stomp sound, would have a pretty big imprint on the sound of the band.
Yes, definitely. The spirit of that Kansas City sound that was developed, in the 1920s and 30s, where it came together because of Prohibition was in place, but politically the town was corrupt, but he was Tom Pendergast was a benevolent dictator, one might say, depending on if you went along with what he said and did what he wanted, I guess. But what he had was the town was wide open. There you could get drinks, there was gambling, and all the kinds of vices that people could want in Kansas City. That meant it kept people working, especially musicians. And so musicians, just due to geography, they'd be touring in the touring circuits. And geographically, Kansas City was on the western end of a lot of tours.
Mm-hmm.
And so people would come up from Texas and Oklahoma and the Southwest, and also from the north, from Omaha, a place like that. And they'd end up in Kansas City. It was a wide open town. You could work as a musician, and it brought with that, you got a lot of musicians together, improvising, creating. It developed its own sound. It had blues. It was different from New Orleans. New Orleans had a 2/4 beat, or the beat was in 2, and a guy named Walter Page, upright bass bass player
Mm-hmm.
from Kansas City. He helped develop the 4/4 sound, the walking bass line, which is a huge innovation in music, and it was also riff based. So you'd have your saxophone players, they get together on a song. You'd be playing the blues and rhythm sections going. You got the saxophones go ba ba doo da, and then the trumpets, they're kind of doing their thing, bop bop bop, kind of answer. And so these riffs were different than the highly orchestrated arrangements that were going on at the same time over in the East Coast and in Chicago and things. So it was very group improvisationally heavy, blues-based type of, with the 4/4 beat. And so it really swung. When you talk about the Kansas City sound and what influenced it, all those elements of music that early rock and roll possessed were in there, and the influences from all different cultures and geographies all came together in Kansas City in that time period. So that's kind of where we start, and then we just try to take it, wherever we want to take it. We try to take it in different directions and expound on that.
Yeah, exactly. That's such a rich musical heritage that's in Kansas City, and thank you. That was a great explanation on just the differences between Kansas City and New Orleans, and then the evolution of the music within the city. Will you guys on Tuesday do those kinds of things? We had a band that came in, was it 2 weeks ago, that liked to talk about the music and sort of introduce, how this came about. Do you guys do that when you play, kind of an educational component to the concert?
We certainly can. I mean, it kind of depends on. It's just like getting into a conversation with somebody and you don't know where the conversation is going to lead. But certainly, if the atmosphere presents itself, and sometimes it's good to talk about it in formats like this, and then then when you get in the moment, and just really let that develop, because some concerts are better at that than others, and we'll just have to see, because just like the music, we'll just have to kind of improvise.
If you're just joining me, I'm talking with Brian Redmond, and he's in the band The Grand Marquis. They'll be coming down to play at the 4th week of Jazz in June this coming Tuesday, and we're chatting here on the J Train, having a really nice talk. I'm enjoying this a lot. Brian, I read on your website about the band's history and just going over some of that narrative. You've definitely toured a lot, but one thing I couldn't tell from reading the bio was, is this a full-time gig for everybody in the band, or do you guys also have day jobs, and then Grand Marquis is kind of what you transform into later at night?
Well, for some of us, it's kind of different for everyone and where we are in life. A lot of us have kids and families and stuff, and so making it a full-time endeavor, sometimes it certainly could be a possibility, but right now, I think a lot of us have chosen maybe more stability. Instead of touring, what would to be full time? We've kind of seen that it would necessitate a lot more touring out of town, and so at this point, we can go ahead and take weekend trips and extended weekends, and maybe take a week and go down to Florida or up to Minnesota or Michigan, or kind of in a radius in the Midwest. We can do that, and then still come home and then have jobs. But for Ryan, for example, he teaches music, so music's a full-time endeavor for him. It's just the band is just one component of it, and so we mix in life, and music is not just the only avenue for making money for a lot of us, but it'd be nice, but right now we feel like it's a good balance right now between being able to be around and be there while the kids grow up, and still getting to do what we want at night and the weekends, and be successful, we think, with Grand Marquis.
Yeah, absolutely. That balance is vital to staying sane. We were talking about, you guys coming here, but Lincoln is also not very far from Kansas City, and I know a lot of people who listen to the show often go there and take in, good food, good music, the sights of the town. Where do you guys usually play when you're in Kansas City? Is it just all over the place, or do you do you hold court at a particular group of jazz clubs?
We do have a variety. Summertime's a great time to catch us. There's a lot of little towns that comprise the Kansas City metro area. So each town will have their own little festival or what have events. This summer, we usually try to. There's a lot of places where we're one of the bands that comes in about once a month. We'll play at a place downtown. It's kind of a modern speakeasy. It's called the Kill Devil Club. We'll play that about once a month. We've got some other places that we play. There's an old theater called the Alamo, purchased by Alamo Drafthouse, a great movie theater chain, full-service movie theater chain out of Texas. They have a giant ballroom right next to the movie theater, and so they host monthly swing dances there. So we're there about once a month. And there's a great steakhouse that is downtown as well called Anton's, where this summer we're going to be out in their patio about once a month. So you can find us at the Raphael Hotel right off the Country Club Plaza. Really nice boutique hotel, and sometimes we play inside in the evenings. Sometimes we'll play on the patio and do an outdoor concert series there. So we're there about once a month as well. That's been a really great place to play. So, and in addition to traveling, going to Memphis or sometimes we're going to Omaha in the end of July.
Oh,
we'll be
all
there
right.
For the swing dance group, the Omaha Jitterbugs, and we're playing at a winery about an hour south of Omaha for their Cajun Fest. So we'll be there around the end of July.
Oh, very good. Well, this is by no means your last trip to Nebraska this summer. That's great news.
Yeah, and we'd like to play. We haven't worked out a date yet, but if folks like us, then just ask the owner of the Zoo Bar to have us, because that's probably a good place for us. And, we haven't scheduled anything yet, but and our full schedule is online. Our website's grandmarquis.net, and so you can catch us there. And if you want to take a little road trip, then Kansas City has got so much to offer in the way of food and music.
Well, once again, we're talking with Brian Redmond. He's of the band the Grand Marquis, and they're going to be down at Jazz in June. Come check it out. There's only 2 weeks left, so if you haven't yet gone, do it. Tuesday night, 7 p.m., Sheldon Art Gallery at 12th and R Street. Brian, I have one more question, and then I'll allow you to add anything that we didn't get to. But the band's name, the Grand Marquis, I think of like an old Art Deco hotel. But what inspired the name?
Oh, okay, that's a good inspiration. It's whatever once you hear the music, it's whatever you associate with it. It's fine. There's a Cab Calloway song called "How Big Can You Get," and that's a great song. There's a line in it. It's all about you can. It says you can die to be a duke or a grand marquis, but you pay to see a movie just the same as he. So if you think about Kansas City and jazz, there's a lot of royalty. There's Duke Ellington and Count Basie and folks like that. You got B.B. King or something. So we just want to be one of the royalty. We're going to be the marquee. We're the five. Individually, we're each Grand Marquis, but we're the 5 Grand Marquis. I guess that's the plural of it. But so that's our inspiration of that Cab Calloway song.
Okay, very cool. Well, is anything else that you'd want to add about the band or the upcoming show in Lincoln that we didn't touch on?
Well, we're just looking forward to this. I heard about this concert series. I know you guys got some great entertainment coming to Lincoln, and it's a great town because it's a college town, but it's more than that. So it's got a great atmosphere. We're just looking forward to the crowd. I heard the crowd is robust, and they're people that come out there are looking to hear good music, and we're definitely ready to go. We're up for the challenge and to play on the same stage as some great musicians. And really our goal is to help people come together. At a time in America where it seems more divisive than ever, we just hope everybody can just kind of stop what they're doing and realize that we all have this common need, and we can experience and be entertained. We have a common experience at our concerts, and when we see that our crowd is made up of people young and old, and racially it's a mixed group, and it's the status is kind of wiped away for the evening, and you can just everybody can enjoy the same music.
Well said. Thanks a bunch, Brian, for taking time to do this interview. And I look forward to meeting you on Tuesday night. And again, encourage people to come out for Jazz in June at 7 p.m. Tuesday at the Sheldon. And I think you guys will be really, really inspired when you see the 6,000 people out there on this beautiful grassy knoll right in the heart of campus. So should be a great evening.
Looking forward to it. Thanks so much for having me on.
They say the throne wasn't built in a day. The journey between wise and foolish is but one step away. Go on and question my motive. You can doubt my salvation. Just trying to protect